Welcome to the Waiting List podcast. Tell us a story.
It's like many things you start building from scratch.
And then I'm like, wait, I really do like watches because
You've seen so many watches that makes you excited.
I think I really do like watches.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to see if you are a watch enthusiast. Right, welcome to the Waiting List podcast, where today I'm joined by Long and Jacqueline. I'm very happy today to welcome Masaharu Wada from Hodinkee, Japan. Did I say that right, Masa?
Yeah.
Good. I've had the pleasure to talk to you, Masa, before this interview, and to fill the audience in, you didn't start working in watches, and you also didn't do journalism. So in fact, you were in tech for 8 years, specifically internet advertising. So how did you start blogging about watches?
Yeah. So right after I graduated from my university, I joined the tech industry and worked in several companies such as, I don't think you know, but there's a company called Cyber Agent, and also maybe this is a familiar one, Line. It's like a WhatsApp, but Japanese version. And I worked there like 8 years, about 8 years in total. And first 5 years, I was the product manager of iPhone and Android apps. And then after that, I moved on to contribute with the website. But then, like, I only had knowledge about those smartphone applications. So I wanted to learn about how website works. And then my company told me to do SEO. So I have to do some learning. Then maybe it's I thought maybe it's a good idea to start my own website to learn about them. That was the reason why. And then I thought no one will read my diary or poems, so I decided to write about watches because that time I already kind of into watches. So that was the reason why I started my blog.
Okay, just go back a bit. You mentioned Line, and I'm not sure everybody will know, not all the listeners will know what Line is. And it's very interesting because it's another messaging app, probably on par with WeChat and WhatsApp. But what is different about Line, and why is Line successful in places like Korea and in Japan and less so in other places? Is there something that is specific to Line that's very different?
I think Korea has Kakao Talk.
Yeah.
And like originally, Line was trying to copy Kakao Talk. Because in Korea, like Kakao Talk was already big. So, but in Japan, there's nothing like that. So, Line started to, Naver Corp that time created Line, and I think it's just because there was no players at that time in Japan, and then they became bigger, like faster than other, came into Japan. So that was just the reason. Like, and also like they have some like interesting thing like stickers.
Yeah.
I know like all the platform has stickers now, but those character.
I know.
Yep.
Like, I know what's the biggest difference, because Line is the main one in Taiwan as opposed to WhatsApp and WeChat. It's because of the sound. So like WhatsApp and WeChat, you don't have a sound. As in it's a very standard kind of like ding, whatever. But Line is like, Line. Like it's like crazy. Like there's all these voices. So then you can so they were really fast at implementing really funny stickers. So like you could be like a producer of stickers. Like I could draw stickers and then send it to Line and say, please like make my stickers kind of thing. Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of, like Japanese culture inside Line. So it's, it's kawaii or like it's
so cute.
Yeah, I would say, aesthetically, I think it's probably the best looking one. I always found that, going back to Long's point about, having maybe a different sound or something. I don't know if Line has different, like you can set it so it's a different notification sound. But when I first came to China, everyone's just using WeChat. It's just like ding, ding, everyone's got the same sound. So when you hear the next person going ding, you check your phone, right? And then I thought, before when we were using Nokia phones, right? Everybody used to have like their own specific ringtone. And if you had a really cool one, everybody was, oh my God, that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
But then when you have one generic sound, it's actually quite good for branding because it's WeChat. Every time you just hear WeChat, 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 right? And like I said, you will automatically check your phone as soon as you hear that messaging. So that, I was wondering, like, why does nobody like make their notification sound more specific to them, and then they don't have to check it? But yeah, anyway.
WhatsApp does, no?
Yeah. I think WhatsApp
Yeah.
does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But WeChat, I actually looked, and I don't think it can. It's
Yeah.
quite interesting. Yeah.
It would be also like, I know a lot of people wanted this, but they never did anything. It was like, how you can customize different sounds for different people in your contacts, so
Yeah.
exactly who's messaging you without
Yeah.
like your phone all the time. And they actually had something like in development, but then they ultimately decided against that. So maybe they just wanted to keep everything the same for, I don't know, some reasons.
Mhm.
Masa, I also heard in your answer that, did you say you had a poem diary?
No, I don't. But like I thought, I was thinking about like maybe my diary or like poem, like just I was just saying.
Oh, okay. So it's just one of the things you were thinking about. So how did your blog then turn into the Hodinkee opportunity? And also, why did you decide to take it? So 2 questions there. How did the Hodinkee opportunity come up? And why did you decide it was the right thing for you?
So my blog, was getting bigger, and I was, making money out of it with like affiliation and Google advertisement, and also some brands were paying me for the sponsored article. And then, but the revenue was not so big as my full-time job salary. So, but I really loved it. Like I really love working for my blog, like meeting new people, like meeting, just kind of like that. So I wanted to make it bigger so I can, put food on my table with my blog. So, and also, it's so sad that, Basel World is gone, but if I work for the tech industry, I don't have enough time to go to Basel or SIHH. So I decided to quit my job to become like freelancer and run my own, own watch blog mainly.
Mm.
And I told my CEO of my previous company that I'm going to quit. And then the exact same day, I saw the announcement of Hodinkee JP is, Hodinkee is coming to Japan. And so I was like, wow, what a coincidence.
To be,
But at the same time, I thought, oh shit, like I was going to create something looks like a Hodinkee, but Hodinkee is actually coming. So I just told my CEO that I'm going to quit, but then they're coming. So I was a bit scared. But a few days later, the CEO of my, the Hearst, contacted me and saying like, would you be interested in, joining Hodinkee? Like, do you want to talk about this? And then I thought, okay, this is kind of, interesting. So I decided to talk with them. And then I saw it's I was a big Hodinkee fan from before, so it's only one time you have only one chance to create from scratch Hodinkee.jp. So I decided to join.
Mm.
And how long did it actually take for your own blog to get so much traction in the way that even a big company like Hearst would think, okay, let's approach Masa-san? How long did that project take actually?
I think that was less than a year to get big enough to get some sponsored article from blog because I was doing SEO, so I was really good at running the website. Like I was learning from my the full-time job, and I was also learning from my blog, so I was doing quite well. But when they reached me, it was maybe a year and a half, I think. Yeah, around that.
Okay, so it must have been quite a hard decision for you to think Hodinkee or, this thing is growing, I'm doing okay, it's your baby kind of thing, and you just quit your job for it. you know, that must have been quite a difficult decision. What were the key factors in you thinking, okay, I need the Hodinkee one? Was it an easy decision like that or not so?
It was kind of easy. The reason why is because, you know, like watch industry is not, you know, friendly with everyone. I mean, like I was just a, you know, small blogger. So sometimes I send email to like all the brands, but not everyone will respond to me and like say, okay, like let's do interview, not like that. So I thought it's important to just get into the circle first. So I thought, you know, if I'm in the Hodinkee, maybe it's easier to, you know, do what I want to do. And also like Hodinkee was like kind of ideal to me. So yeah, I actually, you know, thought like should I or should I like I shouldn't, but it was not so hard.
Right. Okay. And what is Hodinkee trying to achieve in Japan? You know, why did they make that decision to come to Japan?
I think they thought the Japanese, you know, watch enthusiasts and like Japanese watch culture resonate with their content. I think that's one of the reason, and also, you know, Japanese people like they're not good at English, so they don't read English. They don't speak English. So you know, maybe it's that's also one of the reason why.
But your English is really good. Where
Oh,
where
thank
did
you.
you learn your English?
Um, I I learned my English when I was in high school. I went to international school in Vietnam,
Oh, cool.
so I was there for like 2.5 years. So there, yeah, I learned how to speak.
Yeah. Because a lot of Japanese people, even though they speak English, they have this really thick like Japanese accent. But then
Yeah.
your accent is very minimal. Like it's really, really good.
Oh, thank you.
So that's why I was like, did you learn in college or what? Or did you work abroad? It's cool.
And what happened was I spoke to him, you know, for a couple of hours before, you know, to do the private interview, and I managed to get him up to speed with proper English.
That's so lame. Your accent is completely different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But, you know, Masa-san, it's really interesting. You know, you did this blog and you really enjoyed it. And you said that you really liked going out, meeting other people. And previously, I remember in Cyber Agent with the Internet Advertising Agency, there were times where you told me that you did not leave the office. You were one of those people sleeping there 24/7. In fact, you got the Employee of the Year award because you were there 360 something days a year, right?
Yeah.
Like, so was that suddenly a big change in your life, big release that suddenly you found people that you could actually engage with watches that you were really passionate about because you never had that need before of basically having friends, right?
Yeah, you know, right after graduate, so the first company, which was subsidiary company of Cyber Agent, and like first 1 and 2 years, I really literally just sleep at my office and like spending too much time. So like New Year's Eve, my boss told me to just go home.
It's so funny that doesn't occur for you on New Year's Eve to go home. You need a boss to tell you to go home. Like, I just think, what is your mental state at that time?
So when I was in university, I actually wanted to start my own company with my friends, and so you know, I don't think this is gonna happen again. But we actually promised, like, okay, in a few years we will come back, like, train in the this hard tech industry, and let's come back and start our own project. I don't think it's gonna happen, but so like we were thinking that. So I thought, like those 2 years will be my learning, opportunity. So I tried my best. Actually, it was really fun. So I was doing, and then, but yeah, it was really tiring. And so like right after I bought my first watch, I started like researching, and I did like Twitter and like I'm Instagram, and then like I could reach out to like watch people. So that helped, like, my my like that. I think that helped me. Yeah.
Mm.
Good. Sorry, going back to Hodinkee for a minute. So what you said is, you weren't working for Hodinkee when Hodinkee announced that they were coming to Japan. So did they have, did they know what they were going to do in Japan when they announced it? Because they obviously hadn't found you. They didn't have anybody. So apart from Hearst, which was a company that didn't have anyone specific with watches. That's why they had to find somebody, which was you. So was there any discussion on how it would be best to enter the Japanese market and how to execute it, the subtleties?
Like, I really surprised when I had the first like, not interview, but just meeting and like talk about like Hodinkee. There was two person came to like cafe to talk about it, but no one was wearing watches, like mechanical watches, like and like one person was like 30 minutes late. So I saw like, is this serious? And also like they said like, yeah, like there's no one like who can run this website. No one knows about watches. And I thought like I was not so sure like if they are really doing it or not. But then so yeah, when I joined, I was the only one. There was no chief editor. He joined 1 month after like I joined. So I was a bit scared like if it's gonna work or not. But like Hearst, like people from Hearst, they know how to run the website, and they have like a lot of big media. So that's why I think Hodinkee.com trust them. Wait, what was your question again?
So like basically, did they talk to you about how to come into the Japanese market? What would be the best way?
So basically they didn't tell me how. I just like keep communicate with people in the US, and we just discussed. And yeah, and like we only had like 2% in the beginning, so like yeah, maybe let's do like 70% of translation and 30% of like Japanese original contents.
Okay.
And then like let's see. So that was like that. Yeah.
What's it like? What's the contrast like working with Americans and working with Japanese?
You mean difference?
Yeah, the differences. Yeah.
To be honest,
Okay, for sure.
How to be safe here. He's thinking
know.
how to be safe here. But
But
that's
just
very
as
interesting.
just to start, right? The fact that you know how he said they were 30 minutes late?
Yeah,
I don't even think that would happen in Japan, just like people being that late.
I don't think it would
Yeah.
happen in Japan. It's not in the culture.
No, but I think it was the people that were 30 minutes late weren't Hodinkee. It was Hearst. Is that right?
just Hearst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Hearst is American, no? They are American.
That's
They're like the
yeah,
biggest American. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Hearst Fujingaho is it's Japanese
it-
company. Yeah,
Okay.
owned by
okay.
Hearst. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll let you off the hook of that one. You're clearly uncomfortable answering it. But
I mean,
So-
like, there's huge time differences between New York and like Tokyo. So like we don't have a lot of time spent like together. So
Yeah.
but it's like people from Hodinkee.com, like they're all like kind, nice. They like teach us everything, and they help us with like videos and like photography and all that. So it's super fun with super fun working with them. So yeah.
how would you say, there's quite established media companies and watch media companies in Japan already, Chronos being quite significant. I'm sure there's other ones. How does Hodinkee content differ from Japanese own original content, the styles?
The difference between Hodinkee and other watch media in Japan is that Hodinkee is more like personal and like reflects the opinions of individual. So like I can say like I like this because this is this, But for other publications in Japan, they usually like keep it more like, for example, Chronos is more technical. Like, okay, this is movement, and this gear is this, and then how this is working because of this, or like, you know, polishing is like looks like this, so it means this. It's like that. But Hodinkee is more like a story.
Mm.
I've never seen like article like Japanese other like media's article like saying like, you know, like they never introduce something like, have you seen the Tudor watch from Vietnam War?
Oh yeah,
No.
that's the one that is that the one that Cole wrote about?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've never seen those kind of articles.
Oh, the one that
So-
took the bullet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I watched a video of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can get a sense of the article just by reading the first paragraph or the brief summary. It makes you feel close to the person who you're reading, who wrote it, and that makes me wonder, because you said, Masa-san, that there's no such like storytelling watch media in Japan. Most of them are like more technical or professional or straight to the point. What does that say about the Japanese reader like demographic? Is it because Japanese people are more interested in the technical perspective, or they're also very interested in the storytelling perspective? There just has not been that hole filled.
I think since like, you know, like I'm checking my Google Analytics like every day, and it's growing like rapidly, I can say, maybe. And so I think Japanese people also resonate with those contents. And also one thing is that in Japan, those watch media are mainly printed magazine. And that's why like they don't provide like videos or like podcast or and also like when they create magazine contents, everyone ask like other photographer to do photography. So like there's nothing like lifestyle shot of photos.
Okay. Product shots.
Yeah, product shot. Yeah. So I think from the feedback from Twitter, everyone is like excited with contents from Hodinkee JP. So yeah, I think they love it.
Yeah,
I hope.
it does say a lot, you know, when you talk about stories, I think, and the lack of story, let's say, in other publications where it's very technical, has that also got something to do with neutrality? You know, Japanese like to maybe not voice their opinions like Americans, or have an opinion, or I'm sure they have an opinion, but publicly put their, you know, say what they mean.
Yeah, there's this culture of groupism, maybe.
Yeah.
In Japan.
No, I was gonna say it's 100%. It's just there's like tons of studies on this. Like, you know, there's some countries which have a lot of like individualism, which is like you have one opinion, one person says this. So Hodinkee will be very individual because it's Masa saying, I think this is what the watch makes me feel. It's one person speaking. But you know what works really well in Japan is this is another example. There's a magazine called Cosme. I think maybe it's pronounced Cosme or something. Anyways, they take all the beauty products, right? It can be like face wash, and then they rank everything. So you need like thousands of reviews from people. But I realized like people in Japan, they're like super comfortable to give reviews if it's not like me, like one person. It's just like I'm giving a rating. They're more than happy to rate. So the magazines that have like food reviews, makeup, whatever, those do really well. And they're still in printed form, you know? Like it's insane. Like now you can still, so in Hong Kong, they have the stores now from Japan. It's like, so it's called Cosme as well, or Cosme. And then they will be like rank like a shelf of like face wash, and it'll be like number 1, number 2, number 3 by rating of users, like what users rate. and this is what I've realized with like Japanese people. They are more than happy to like rate you. And even on Instagram, right? This is the thing I realized. Like Japanese people, like they can quietly enjoy someone else's content and follow them and just be like kind of like a fan. Like they're happy to just be in the back but enjoy someone else's content, whereas I feel like American people will be like, hey, you follow me back. Oh, one follow for one follow, I have to state my opinion. They have so many things to
So
say,
passive
like as
follower.
yeah, so they're very comfortable just being like in a group, like they don't need to be the center of attention. Whereas I feel like American people are like, no, you need to hear me,
Is
like
is
as
that
an individual.
is that the right interpretation, Massa, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. So, for example, it's really difficult to ask people to come out for the talking watches. Like
Yeah.
they don't want to show their collection. They just want to keep it with themselves. But I
You
think
just need to give me a call, and the other two girls here. Just give us a call. Yeah.
Can you
We
explain
can
that?
Speak Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a few words. A few words. Right. Yeah, so it's very hard. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. So it's very hard to get people to come onto Talking Watches because they like to be more discreet. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So like we've done like 2 talking watches in Japan, like original Japan
Yeah.
original, but those 2 are already well-known like figures in
Yeah.
like fashion, like Shuhei Nishiguchi-san from the Beams, and also Naoya Hida. You already know, but
You tried to get Fujiwara on, right? I think.
yeah, but he was really humble. Like he was saying like, oh, I'm not the right person like who can speak talk about watches. Like I'm just like I'm not even a collector. I just like them, but like I'm not the kind of guy
But
to
his
show it. So I was like, oh, okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
Nari? If you didn't get Fujiwara on, what about Nari?
I haven't connected with Nari-san, so I'm not sure yet. But we're trying to connect with a lot of people like who can
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
out.
What about that guy that his name's just left my mind. The guy that used to, well, he owned Bape and Human Made. That guy. What's that guy called?
So
Nigo?
Yeah, him.
Is
He's a big
he
watch guy.
Japanese?
yeah, he's Japanese, but his collection
Oh,
is like quite different from
yeah.
He's like all blinged out in all diamonds.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Wara and Nari, they're like, vintage Rolex and yeah. Oh, it would be so cool if Fujiwara came on.
Yeah.
Fangirling right
Yeah,
here.
we are trying to reach people. I mean, like we reached a lot of people and trying to get them. Like for example, like our kind of dream is to get Takuya Kimura, Kimutaku.
Oh,
Isn't
really?
he the hottest
oh my
guy
God.
ever? Is that guy,
That
right?
would be amazing.
Wait, he's the hottest guy ever, right?
Yeah, so like, but it's one of the most difficult one to get.
He's also
my God.
interested in watches.
I didn't know he was
And
so
you-
interested in watches. Is he a big
And he's
fan?
half Taiwanese.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
know.
really?
Yeah. He's so hot.
Yeah, Kimutaku.
I didn't know he was half Taiwanese. Really?
Yeah.
Kintak?
Wait, yeah. Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah.
Kimura Takuya.
Kimura Takuya.
Are you talking about the other dude? Like, there's another dude. I can't remember his name. God, it's so long ago.
No, we're not talking about the
We're
same
not
person.
Yeah,
This is a
I
Japanese.
think I know who
You know
Long's
who I'm
talking
talking about? Like
Yeah,
the
I'm talk-
hottest guy ever.
yeah, I know the guy you're talking about. I thought he was yeah, he is hot, that guy.
So he was a huge TV show star, and also he's an idol, like SMAP. It's the group.
Yeah.
There's already there. It's strong, but
He's like the biggest. He's like basically the David Beckham of Japan. Like he is.
Wait, who is
the
the
top
footballer
celebrity.
guy?
Is
Who's
he
the
considered, like,
footballer guy?
really big
Oh
star?
yeah, he's cool as well. He's
Yeah,
that
the
footballer
football
guy.
guy. And he was also the face for
football
What is
guy?
his name? He's so hot. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a
he's good.
football.
Yeah, he's good looking as well. He's got really, really short hair, really like.
Yeah, and
And
he's an
then
ambassador for a jewelry brand
he played for
too.
Roma. He played for Roma.
God, what is his name? Because okay, I have to tell you, because I was at Andes in Shanghai, and I had said to my boyfriend, "Oh my God, look at that guy. He's so good looking." And then my boyfriend's like, "Dude, how do you not know this guy? He's so damn good looking and so oh my God, I need to know his name."
I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
just type Japanese hot footballer.
Yeah, when he was young, he was so hot.
Well, that's amazing though. I look forward to. I hope you get him on because he is. Yeah, that's a bad photo.
Hold
I
on.
mean, that is
No,
like
that's
long
Yeah.
vacation.
Oh
That's long
no, that's good.
vacation.
It looks like a girl.
That's long vacation. Yeah. Uh,
But yeah, I mean, like Kim Taku was one of the guy who made Rolex super popular
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
because he was wearing it in the TV show. So I wanted to ask him, like, how did you feel about it and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why Kim Taku is like one of the big star, like one of the interesting person like who owns a lot of watches.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if you know his contact, like please let me know.
don't now you've put it out there. Long Long is just amazing at stalking people like this.
Dude, this is
She
not
will make
even
sure
my
it happens.
type. I found one already in Japan who was like my ideal. First of all, he's black and he plays football and he's in Japan and he's an AP fan. He's got Calvin. I found him on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he's my friend.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, you know.
Yeah, it's his friend.
See, I
He just
didn't-
said it's his friend.
Yeah, I know. I already messaged him.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
what is his? I need to. Dan, you need to
Maybe.
follow this guy because when I
Okay,
found
send it
his
to me.
page, I was like, "Oh, he's called Calvin Jong Apin, right? John, like Jonj.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it to you." Anyways, I was like, "Nice."
Well, it does show how popular. I mean, certainly I grew up at the time where Japanese drama was very much in vogue when I was growing up, and I used to watch all of this. Engine, long. If it had Kimura Takia in it, I was watching it.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that one too.
And it's funny, now not much talk is there about Japanese drama. It's a lot of Korean drama now.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
even some like Chinese. I'm telling you, some Chinese dramas are pretty good. Even I find myself watching them. I'm like,
but a
I
lot
just
of them
get
are
hooked in.
remakes. What is the one with the four guys from high school?
and Meteor Garden.
Yeah, that is actually from Japan, from a
Yeah, that's
book.
Japanese.
It
Yeah.
came
Yeah,
from
Yeah.
Japan, and then it made into Korean, and then
Yeah.
Taiwan, and then mainland.
Yeah.
Well, I say Korean. Do you girls watch Korean drama? Because
No,
one of
I
it's like
hate
super. It's super mushy, but
Yeah.
it's the soundtrack to them is just really good. Like the soundtrack,
What?
the
My
music.
favorite show is Goblin, and then the soundtrack.
What? What's going?
You not? Oh my God! No Goblin. You
No, first the Korean guy is like that look that annoys me already, and then I'm like, in this world, right? What rich person sits in a cafe the whole day waiting for the girl to be done cleaning the cafe, like at night, right? And she's always like the cleaner.
You're shattering dreams here. You're shattering dreams.
Fine.
Yeah, you're a dream shatterer.
For those who are listening, I highly recommend Goblin with Gon Yu.
Yeah, but the thing is like, Jacqueline, you're actually a different generation to us. I mean, you like Justin Bieber, okay?
Yeah.
Since that happened, like your credibility to have any voice has just gone down. Okay, like at least 5 points.
But then you mentioned the soundtrack. Goblin has really, really good soundtrack music. Yeah.
Okay, listen, if you want to follow someone classy, go check out Calvin's page.
Okay, send it to me. Yeah, I will.
But make sure, Massa, after this, talk to your friend Calvin and make sure he messages back.
Yeah.
He did. He's so like, I was like, my heart just stopped. I was like, he can't be real. It must be one of those fake accounts. Because he's actually good looking. That's the thing.
Massa, tell your friend to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, back to this. So where is Hodinkee's positioning right now in Japan? Would you say 1, 2, 3, or top 3, top 5? They still are they even number one?
I haven't done, research in detail about our situation right now. So I have to check, like page views of every like watch media and publications. So I'm not sure yet, but last year we got a lot of, contents creating together with brands. So I think we're in quite unique position. No other media gets a lot of advertisement on the web page, and
I
also
see.
like we
Okay.
launched the printed magazine, Hodinkee magazine, but Japan edition last year, and it was quite successful. So I think Kronos is one of the biggest. So like we are trying to reach them.
So you mentioned Kronos is also mainly print media, right?
Yep.
So what is it about print media that works well in Japan?
Um,
Because it's pretty, I'm telling you, it's dead in China. Like, forget it.
um, yeah, like I actually wanted to ask too, like because I'm from tech industry, and I was like, why people read magazine? I mean, but like Hodinkee magazine is completely different. It's more like something you want to collect. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't know like why other watch medias just try to stick with like magazine like strongly.
Yeah. I mentioned, like, I've been reading a few books. I've got a few books also ready lined up to read about watches. It is a different experience to doing it online for sure. And I think there hasn't been a publication that fit into that niche of something that is so heavy, but then not literally weight heavy, as in like content heavy, to something that is, oh, this is too light. So I've had two books that I'm trying to get through right now. Well, the retrospective book by Phillips. So that isn't a book that you would read as a book. It's a book that you would leave on the coffee table, or in Long Long's household, it would be in the bathroom.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
that, I know I'm right, and it's not even jokes, right? Like, and you'd read a few pages there because it just satisfies that moment. But actually, it's not deep enough. The watches there are amazing. The photos are amazing, right? But I would really want to know a deep dive on every single watch right there. But actually, it's pitched in a different type of way, which would be really good to just flick through. And then the second book I got recently through the post was the is it Watch Annual 2020. So
But that's just pictures, though.
yeah, it's just pictures. And
Yeah.
then but then I look at it and I think they're Instagram pictures almost, like, except they're
They
not
are,
as
but they are
saturated.
actually taken from Instagram as well. And the
Yeah.
people that write, like, they're also like not all of them, right? But the people that took some of the photos, they don't even like the watches that they took photos of. So the review or like what they wrote about the watch, I didn't think it reflected the watch. That was
I
my
agree.
problem with it. Yeah.
My problem with that book was I felt there's not, the review is a very nice way of saying it. They're not reviews. They are actually captions, right? But they're little comments that you would actually find on Instagram. So for me, you have, it sounds like I'm really like, again, killing this book, but I'm just saying how it is, because if you buy it, you'll know what I mean. I actually paid for that book, by the way. I didn't get given it. So, and it cost me over 20 quid for it. And it's a bunch of Instagram pictures, which are not fully in color. Like, it's a bit, like the color's a bit dead. And then it's like captions. And then it's got your Instagram account. So I'm like, well, I can't see the relevance of that, right? So because I can go onto Instagram for that, but is it a nice book I'll keep around? Yeah, I'll just keep it around, and people can flick through it. But again, it's a book that you flick through. But then I've got like a Patek book that I've been given, and that, you can't just flick through that, because that whole book is on one specific topic in Patek's history. But is there a medium ground where I could hold on to it, read it. You know, we were talking about the other day. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know when we're going to be able to do it and fly again. But, you know, when you're in the airplane, you don't really play with your phone, right? And even if you do have the Wi-Fi, I'm always conscious about like battery. I need enough battery to get home, right? Like I would like a book actually to take on me and to read and just to pull it out. And I know, yeah, with any book, I'm committed time-wise to reading it. Yeah, I'm not going to be disturbed, and the quality of the content is up there too. And it's a lot faster actually in a book than it would be on a search engine.
Mhm.
I feel like just flick through and see what catches your attention. So I'm very interested if anybody comes up with that. If anybody has a business idea listening to the podcast, just approach me because I came up with the idea. But I wondered if that was the reason, you know, but maybe there's some other cultural, other reasons as well. But one thing I was thinking about, Masa, was obviously you write in Japanese for the Japanese market, and you write now, as you mentioned, 70% of the content. How does Hodinkee know you're not writing shit?
Some articles, for example, hands-on articles or a week on the wrist articles, those articles were also shipped to US and translated in English, and so they can know. But they trust us like fully, so they don't like check everything, and they just don't check everything. Yeah, they completely trust us.
So you have quite a lot of freedom then in what you want to write, including the topic as well.
Yeah, so Hodinkee.jp is not, carbon copy of Hodinkee.com. So they believe that, Japanese, there has to be Japanese own like taste. So like it's okay to do a flex. So yeah, like if we want to, we can do like maybe completely different things. And also Hodinkee.com is like recently they are changing a lot of things. So
They are,
like
yeah.
they have like a cultural time, cultural time, or like that. And also like like maybe watch spotting. Maybe we can do like, oh, Kimitake is wearing this one, or like that.
Oh, it's more celebrity, localized celebrity. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also we can do some like, vintage watch shopping in Japan or like something like that too.
Shopping guide.
Oh, that would be wicked. But can you just make sure that's not published and just given to me? Like, like as soon as you're going to publish that out, those prices are going to go like that. Because I've
the
noticed that
vintage
about the
ones,
Japanese stores. They don't, their online presence outside Japan isn't that great, right?
No, but in Japan, they have the actual books, like the directory. Like you can buy the books that will be like the shop and whatever, right?
Yeah. They don't want to give that information out, man. Keep that secret. Keep that secret. Because I know those books that I was talking to Masa, those Japanese books, obviously, that you can buy them in China as well, right? And people buy them even though they can't understand them, just for the pictures and the reference numbers, so that they can figure stuff out. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in Japan, and we should keep it secret. At least
one of my recommendation is Rolex Mania. It's this book. Maybe I should show you.
Okay.
Rolex Mania.
So I supposed to show Hodinkee, Japan magazine, but this one is.
You're supposed to say Hodinkee. Is that actually a magazine? Rolex Mania?
Yeah, like you can.
It looks really good.
Wow! Oh wow!
Like,
Oh, look at that! That whole page was just on bracelets.
Yeah, so it's like that. It's like a reference point, but in magazine. I feel like Japanese watch those printed magazines are like a textbook.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
learn a lot from these. So
Yeah.
the differences of the dial, like
Oh
of
wow!
the miners, and like
That is
this
vintage
one has,
Rolex like porn.
Miner, Explorer, Daytona, GMT, and
Yeah.
this is like it gets so popular in Japan And so the price of this book actually went a bit higher than the retail price.
So how much is that book, and how often does that magazine book come out?
This is 4,500 yen.
Okay, so like
Uh,
40 something US.
45, yeah, US dollars around there.
Okay, so it's
Uh,
not. It's pretty expensive for a magazine.
Yeah, pretty expensive, but it's really thick.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So how often does that come out?
This one came, I think last year was the first time. So I'm not sure, like how many times they will update. So this is
Oh,
maybe not too much like a magazine, but yeah. But
okay.
this is really helpful for like.
Okay, this is really interesting because to have a publication like that in a domestic market, it shows how
Mm,
markets are still quite localized and have their certain trends and nuances,
mm.
which brings me on to my next question is, although I believe that many collectors collect for the same reasons around the world, what are the main differences or subtleties between Japanese collectors compared to outside, would you say, the rest of the world?
So like you can see from this book, Japanese collectors are very like how to say specific. Like
Mm-hmm.
they want to know the detail.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to make it like clear that what this watch is, and very very yeah, they care a lot about details. And also in other country there are many people who collects like based on the brands, like with brand as one category. So maybe like okay, I'm a vintage Patek Philippe collector, I'm a vintage Rolex collector, like that. Like of course there are like many watch collectors in Japan like that, but I often see like unique Japanese watch collectors. For example, I know someone who collects only like jumping hour watches,
Mm,
or like collectors who only collect chronograph with Breguet numeral, like that. Like
Mm.
they took one part and then they make it as a like their kind of style, and then just keep collecting if they see that kind of watches. So that was one of the also uniqueness of maybe Japanese collector.
Mm. I wanted to ask, when you say something like they like facts, they like basically black and white. Let's say, so you can be quite black and white on, let's say, condition.
Yeah.
This has been polished, has not been polished. This has scratches. This doesn't have scratches. This is a 2-line sub. This is a big red or whatever. You can be very specific about those facts. Interestingly, not even Rolex will corroborate those facts. So, facts in kind of a very murky area. But how do you quantify beauty?
I think in the end it's just taste of like each person. So I can't say like this is the best and this is not. But I actually spoke with a buyer from Japan. Told me that Japanese people are like too like detailed, and so like when they were doing for like 20, 30, like 35 years, like doing that those specific thing. Like I think like people outside of Japan like hearing about the conditions is not so like it doesn't have a long history. I mean, like it's a recent thing, right? Like people caring a lot about the conditions. So that guy told me that like when I went to the uh, you know the market in USA, I started to check a watch with a loop. The watch is 100 years old, so like people in US, like they say like why do you care like so much, this is 100 years old watch. Like
yeah.
I can't say why this style has this thought or that. So he told me that like sometimes like people around him like say like Japanese collectors and Japanese buyers are too detailed.
Too picky.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too much. Yeah.
Is there, with their obsession in detail, is that also a very good reason why they have that. They were one of the first people, first culture to really appreciate Philip Dufour, simplicity.
Yeah, I think so. I believe. So Sherman is one of the watch shop.
Okay.
In
They
Japan.
handle vintage
I bought
watches.
I bought vintage watches from Xiaomen. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Philippe Dufour Simplicity came out, 2000, around 2000, right?
Yeah.
That time, like Sherman was selling a lot of vintage watches.
Yeah.
They educated their customer like how like vintage Patek Philippe finishing is really nice, and like how other vintage watches are really nice with the movement or finishing. So those clients were really educated. And then um, when Philippe Dufour Simplicity introduced in 2000, they immediately understood that, oh, this is something special. Like this is not something that, other brands are making right now. And around that time, I think the price was, I forgot how much, but it was not,
Yeah, we know that. We don't need you to rub that in. Yeah, we do know. Like it wasn't very expensive. Yeah, we know.
Like 50,000 US, I think.
Yeah, around there. So like people thought, oh, like this finishing and this price, this is cheap. That time people thought like that, like, and what Mang is doing, and this is crazy. This is amazing. And also in 2002, I remember that there's NHK, the national television. They aired the program called Microcosm of an independent watchmaker, the microcosm of an independent watchmaker. And there, Dufour Simplicity has introduced there, and they use like super macro lens to show like how like one man is like finishing these amazing movement and like that kind of stuff. And there was also other watchmakers too, but so yeah, people watched the program, and then it became like super popular. So before it was, the waiting years was 4 years, but then it became 8 years in Japan.
Yeah. So I mean, it does seem to kind of highlight the general high knowledge and appreciation the general watch buying people in Japan, the watch collectors, have of watches. Like it does sound like it wouldn't be very easy to take them for fools. If you produce a watch, has a great story, all of that, but then maybe, when it comes to actually the quality, you think, it's not quite there. And I'm just thinking in my head, is it that a lot of Japanese design language is based around craftsmanship first? Because when we look at the designs of, let's say, Seiko or Grand Seiko, a lot of emphasis is placed on the Zaratsu polishing, or even like a hammer tone, and being a unique hammer tone because it's just one artisan doing it, rather than, let's say, just it's craftsmanship based first beauty, rather than like just beauty for the sake of being beautiful.
I think craftsmanship comes first in Japan.
Yeah.
Craftsmanship or technology, like for example, quartz watch is also the one, and also titanium by Citizen watches. Those are the one. So like if you take a look at the history of the Japan watchmaking, back in those days, they were trying to beat the Swiss watch industry, like by precision, like that's I heard that's one of the reasons why they stopped the Conco. I mean the competition, because Japan was like too good.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, like they care about those craftsmanship. And we have in other craftsmanship, we say shokunin, with people who create those stuff. So those culture is one of the reasons why we focus hugely on craftsmanship.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, you have a actual like term and craftsmanship culture in Japan? Yeah, please, Jacqueline, come in.
I just thought of something that I really wanted to quickly ask Masa-san. Obviously, from a foreigner's perspective, whenever we think about made in Japan nowadays, be it watches or furniture or technology devices or cars, whatever, we think about quality, condition, and craftsmanship, like what we just talked about. But then there's also this concept of finding beauty within imperfections, wabi sabi, that also came from Japan. So, as a Japanese, or could you tell us about like how it is like to finding that balance between perfection in like watch form and also like ceramics where there is beauty in imperfections, the wabi sabi way of things?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. But first of all, I don't think like made in Japan is a special thing in like anymore. Like back in those days, like made in Japan was highly appreciated, but now I don't think it's a very special thing. Like outside of Japan, there's a lot of great thing created with like big care.
Yeah.
So
That's very interesting you say that, because
very-
we were speaking to people recently and
Yeah.
they were saying there is appreciation now of Japanese goods. But what you're saying is, and this is me assuming what you're saying, that Japanese themselves have seen a lowering of the quality and therefore they don't think made in Japan is all that anymore.
Yeah.
But then outside the world, there's a lot of appreciation for Japanese made good as having this great standard. I find that so intriguing that you said that.
I was just gonna say, Masa-san, like I would go to Japan and I'd be so so motivated to buy stuff from Japan. Like, everything is just
Yeah.
like so neatly
Yeah.
packed and you're so
Yeah.
happy and it's so eye-pleasing when you look at them. But then maybe when you're living in Japan, your standards are already so high,
Yeah.
it doesn't come as a surprise to you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the care that's taken in so many of the Japanese products is over and beyond most of the time. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it when things, you haven't thought of and someone's thought of them for you. And then you realize, actually, that was a great idea. Like that adds so much exponential value to the product. And that basically leads us to my final question, really, which is, I do want to give some exposure to some Japanese independents. They need all the help, and independents generally need all the help they can get. It's a tough gig for them. And I personally, am interested. So could you perhaps tell me 3 independent watch brands that you think are doing quite well, and what's so great about them? Japanese independent brands. Yeah.
So you already know Kikuno-san and Asaoka-san, so maybe I should skip them. The one of my most favorite one is Naoya Hida. I'm sure you already know, but Hida-san
Yeah.
is an amazing guy. I wrote article about him, and it's in English too, on Hodinkee.com. So please check that out too. And also Kikuchi Nakagawa is also one of the great independent watch brand. They black polish the case and design with the Calatrava style, but
The hands are amazing.
yeah. So I really love the design, and also there's interesting watchmaker called Daizo Makihara. Do you know?
Yeah, that guy uses a Japanese technique that was used, and you have to be actually preordained to actually even to do that technique, right?
Yeah.
And then he has to incorporate it in the watch. But I understand he isn't the one that does it. It's I think it's a lady that does it, right? Or somebody does it.
Yeah. Daizo Makihara-san's watch has this dial with Edo Kiriko. It's like
Yes, that's it.
cutting the glass with like Edo style. So it has a really interesting design on the dial. And yes, the one lady is actually cutting the glass, and she is the only one who can cut the glass for the dial.
Yeah, and am I right in saying that it isn't like not just a skill, only she's allowed to do it because she has a specific title or she's been given something, is that right?
Not specific title maybe, but what I heard like a few years ago when I met him, he was saying that like man was like maybe a little bit too strong, and then
Oh.
easily break the glass. So like maybe now, maybe other people can do, but at that time, like I heard that only that lady can, actually make it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But at the same time, for me, yeah, actually, I guess it goes back to the whole in-house, non-in-house thing. But with independence, one of the draws is having something in-house. But then, people would say, as long as the quality's there, it doesn't really matter. But it is a very unique looking watch, I would say. So that ends our first part interview with Masa. Thank you very much, Masa, for your time. Please stay tuned for the second part where we talk about his watch collecting. So see you guys on the next one. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Waiting List podcast. Hit the subscribe button and the next episode will come straight to your phone as soon as it's ready. Whilst I'm here, please remember to leave a nice review and follow us on Instagram at the Waiting List podcast.